Hey YouTube, thanks for clicking to watch today's video. So in today's video, I'm going to do a demo, tutorial, and review on the Natasha Denona Retro palette, which I have here. I've had it for some time, but this is my first time doing a video with it. So I do have thoughts on this palette because I have used it. It's not my first time. And it goes a little something like... Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, we're going to be playing in, I don't even know when to say new or when to say shopping my stash, because how long does it take for a product not to be new anymore? I like this palette a whole lot. I'm gonna go in with the shade Andy, which is a light mauve. This is Andy here, and I'm gonna go into that shade and just put it in my crease. This palette has cream mattes, like cream to powder mattes, which can be a little tricky to work with in my opinion. I find it best to pack it on and then blend it out. The next shade I'm gonna go into is Groove, and Groove is this burgundy right here. I should have went into Amara, so I have Groove on my brush, so I'm just gonna mix some Amara into it, and that's what I'll do. I just try to do it with a light hand, because Amara is a little bit lighter than Groove. I think that's Groove. It is Groove. So a little bit of Groove and Amara mixed together for our second shade. So I'm gonna go just in Groove and just go a little bit lower. And I love how these layer, how they're layering so far. This is not a first impression. This is an actual review, because like I said, I've used this palette enough to be able to tell you how I feel about it. And if I think it's good or, you know, beginner friendly. So now I'm going to go into the deepest shade in this palette, which is Rebellion, which is here. And Rebellion is one of the cream to powders. So I'm going to take a brush that is a bit smaller. I'm going to take my Morphe M526, which is small and fluffy. And I'm going to go into Rebellion, which is the cream to powder. I told you I find the cream to powders just a tiny bit tricky to work with, because they are best used packed on first and then start to blend it out. So I found with the cream to powder, placement is key to get what you want out of it. And this shade, I will also say, looks darker in the pan than it shows up on your eye, because I used Groove last, and Groove looks lighter in the pan than Rebellion, but Rebellion shows up a little more. This eye always blends out better than the other one. I don't know why. So now I'm gonna take the black from the Xenon palette, and y'all, when I got this palette, I was like, I only bought it for the black shade, the Black is Black, because I wanted to try Natasha Denona's Black is Black. And if you know about Natasha Denona's products, her Black is Black single eyeshadow is $20-something. This palette with 5 shades in it was $25. So to get 5 shades and get that Black is Black was the same price as getting a single. So I opted, and my dog is barking. I must have a package or something. I hope I have a package. So, and I did a look using just this palette. So if you want to check it out, I will link it in the description bar below. So I'm going to take the black because this palette, I didn't think I would like it the way I like it, but this palette goes hard. So I'm just going to take the black on that same brush, and I'm tapping in pretty, you know, I'm putting a little pressure on it because I want that dimension. And I'm going to place it right where I want it, which is in that outer V, and then I'm going to kind of flick it over, but down close to the lash line because I don't want it to get out of hand, and I don't want to cover up too much of my berry shades. So fall like. Okay, now I'm going to go into the shade Go-Go, which is, or should I go into more? I'm going to go into Go-Go because when I'm doing a tutorial, I like to use as many shades as possible so you can see how they perform on the eyes. Go-Go is this mauve shade here. And I'm going to tap lightly into Go-Go and just Go-Go right in between or right on top of the last shade. Okay, for Xylid, I also have this Natasha Denona Macro Tech Crayon. Sound quality should be a little bit better. I do apologize. I did forget to activate the mic. Okay, so this is the Macro Tech Eye Crayon, and the shade is Burgundy by Natasha Denona. This was this a part of this collection? I think so. I don't know. I know there was some gel eyeliners, which I was interested in some, but I didn't pick them up because I said I don't need it. So for the lid, I've been using Psychedelic, but I think I want to go into Hello. Glitz is this shade here. It's super pretty, but I believe it's a topper shade. Or is it? Yeah, I believe it's the topper shade. This is Hello. This one here. I think I might go into Hello because I don't think I've used that on a lid, and I haven't used Patty. I don't know. Of course we'll do more than one. You didn't have to ask. So I'm going to go with my deepest shade first, which is going to be Patty, with just a flat brush. It's kind of big. It's like a concealer brush, but whatevs. It probably would go on better with my finger, but I'm doing it with the brush today. So Patty might be a topper too. I don't. Okay, gotta do the same thing on the other eye. Okay, so now I'm gonna go into the shade Hello and see what I get with that. Okay, Hello is way more pigmented, has way more of a base color behind it, a mauve base color. So Hello. And I'm gonna go into the topper shade Psychedelic. No, I'm gonna go into Glitz. Glitz is super pretty, but this one I know for a fact is a topper. That's what it looks like on my finger. Let me swatch it for you so you can see. Get a good swatch. That's Glitz, and this one is Psychedelic. Psychedelic is more sparkly and more pink. So I'm gonna use Psychedelic first on my finger and tap it in the center. I'm going to use Glitz on the front of my eye. Which finger should I use? My fat little fingers. I'm going to use the same finger and hope for the best to get it more towards the inner corner. And same thing. Okay, so I'm gonna throw a face on and some lashes, and I will be right back so we can finish the eyes. And yes, that's what I'm gonna do. So this is an eyeliner. It's pretty luxe. Oh, can I get the top off? Oh, okay. So it is a pencil that you do sharpen. I'll swatch it. It's burgundy. That's how it looks on my hand. I'm going to take that on my lower lash line, not my waterline. It's very creamy. It is an angled, like, fluffy brush. I love it to put color on the lower lash line. So I'm going to go into one of those mauve shades. I think I'm going to go into Go-Go, which is this one. And then I'm going to put Groove on the outer edge. So Go-Go first. Just right under the liner to give the liner something to transition into. Just soften it up a bit. So this palette is one of her mid-size palettes, which I appreciate way more than the bigger $100 and something palettes versus these are like 60 something. I don't know the exact price off the top of my head. I'm sure all the products will be linked below and you can just go look that product up, but it is in the $60-65 range palette. That's her mid-size palettes. Her larger palettes are $129 and up, I believe, but I like these mid-size palettes, and I do adore the minis, because once you are a person who has a lot of makeup in your collection, the big palettes, I tend to shy away from them now. Number one, storage. Number two, if I don't feel like thinking about a look, a smaller palette is way easier to use because you don't have as many options. However, that's not to say I will never buy a large palette. So the Natasha Denona Retro palette, is it beginner friendly? Yes, it is. The matte shadows blend seamlessly with a light hand. I would say go light and build it up as you go so you don't wind up with too much product. You can add to, but you can't take off. The cream to powder shades, in my opinion, can be a little tricky to work with. So are those beginner friendly? It just depends on if you have no clue how to do makeup or you know a little something. I would advise place the color where you want it and then blend. The shimmers, Natasha Denona shimmers are always amazing. However, you're not getting as many shimmers in this palette as you may think. Quite a few of the shades that are shimmers are topper shades. That's not to say they're not beautiful, but topper shades normally work best with a base. So keep that in mind. I also like that there's the holes in the back that you can pop the shadows out and make your own palette. So if you have several of these palettes, which this particular style of palette, I have two. I have this one and the Sunset palette. I'm really thinking about popping out some of these shades and popping in some shades from the Sunset palette, like this light shade down here, the lightest one. Popping that one out and popping in one of the mauvey, more burgundy pink tones in here. Also nude mauve. I don't know. Yeah, I'm just thinking about popping out maybe two to three shades and taking 2 to 3 shades from my other palette and popping them in here and making it more all around user friendly for me, because the light shades tend to look the same on my skin tone. But the eye pencil, I did swatch it on my hand because I wanted you guys to see that this eye pencil is budge proof. It is budge smudge proof. And that's what I like. I like an eye pencil. I tend to use my eye pencils on my lower lash line versus my waterline just because sometimes it irritates my eyes if I put it in the waterline. So just to avoid that and add color to the lower lash line, I just put it in the lower lash line. If I'm going to use a color on my waterline, it has to be a liner like this that is not going to budge, because I don't need it slipping and sliding because I just get more irritated. So the Blush and Gloom palette, it's not new. If you can find it on sale, I say get it because it's a beautiful palette. I bought mine on sale, but I do think it's worth full price. And the Xenon palette, I already did a video on the Xenon palette. I will link it below so you can check it out. Pat McGrath lipstick, bomb. So there's my thoughts and my 2 cents on this palette. Not that you asked for it. I know I don't get paid for thinking. But yes, this is a beautiful palette, especially for this time of year when you're drinking red wine. This is our red wine look, girl. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Please, please, please return, come back. Let me know what you want to see so I can have, an idea of what people are looking for. Because if not, I just put out what I feel like putting out. But it would work a little bit better if you told me what you wanted to see. And I'll be glad to do a video on anything you ask me to do within reason. So until next time, guys, bye.